Alright, welcome back, YouTubers and Madden fans. This is Madden Money Shot, bringing you another Madden 19 team preview. This is probably going to be the last one that I'm going to do. This is the very best teams in Madden 19. The top 10 teams to start either a CFM or just regular gameplay. It really doesn't matter. I can do another one for my builders out there. People that like to build teams from scratch. I could do the best teams to build in Madden 19. I think I did that last year and I think it was pretty popular. So if you guys want to see that, hit the like button. So the first team on this list is the New England Patriots, the only team with 299 overall rated players. And I know they lost some players in the offseason, but they have a way of reloading and making it look like it doesn't even matter. The offensive line, they lost their left tackle, but you know what? They have 2 right tackles at 82, so just flip one of them over there. They have 5 linemen that are 79 or better, so their offensive line is going to be just fine. Their receiving core with Chris Hogan and Julio, they don't have that elite receiver that you want, which is pretty much Rob Gronkowski's territory. The running backs, you're going to have to lean on James White and the rookie they drafted, who have to go pretty far down to find, but Sony Michel. On the defensive side, where they shine is in the secondary, and that's probably the most important place to shine in Madden. Devin McCourty, their highest rated player, and then their top 2 corners are next with Stephon Gilmore and Jason McCourty. I mean, how could you argue? Their top 3 players are cornerbacks. That includes Devin McCourty. He's a cornerback in real life playing safety. And then Patrick Chung, a little bit further down, completes the secondary. Their defensive line is pretty stout, too. The linebackers aren't so great. Dante Hightower is pretty much the only one they have, but it's easy to find linebackers. Next up, staying in the AFC West, we have the Raiders. This team really surprised me when I looked at its roster. A couple years ago, they were, what, 12-4, something like that, when they had a really breakout year, and they're starting to look more and more like a 12-4 team. I mean, their offensive line, their 2 top players are offensive linemen, but you don't have to look too far before you see their receiving core is pretty nasty with Amari Cooper, Jordy Nelson, and Martavius Bryant. You have athletes with speed and size. I mean, they have everything they need there. Jared Cook, 6'5", good running backs in Marshawn Lynch, and they even picked up a backup running back in Doug Martin. So this team has got everything on offense. On defense, they didn't finish that great statistically, but if you look at some of their players, they have everything you need. The front 4 is set with Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, Mario Edwards, and Justin Ellis. That's 4 guys on the line that are 80+, and then one of the most elite pass rushers in the game, Khalil Mack. The secondary is pretty solid too. Rashawn Melvin, Carl Joseph, Marcus Gilbert, all over 80, and then you have Garyon Conley, who didn't progress very much his rookie year, but he's got talent, so you just got to work him up, and you got pretty much everything you need. I mean, Derek Johnson's coming over from the Chiefs, and Tahir Whitehead, a left outside linebacker, added from the Lions. They have everything. Staying in the AFC West one more time, we got the San Diego Chargers. Might think twice before you join one of these teams, considering how stacked the division is. Even the Broncos made my sleepers list. But overall, the Chargers might be the best team out of all of them. Their lineup is loaded with receivers. You can see them on the board here. Keenan Allen, Travis Benjamin, Tyrell Williams. You can scroll down a little bit. You got Mike Williams, their first-round pick from last year, wherever he is. I might have skipped him. But either way, you're loaded at receivers. You can trade any number of those guys and get some assets back. Then at running back, Austin Keller came out of nowhere to have a pretty solid year. He's an 81 overall. The defensive side, I wouldn't call it a complete defense, but realistically, this defense is all about stopping the pass. Great pass rushers on the edge with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram, and great cornerbacks in Casey Hayward, Jason Verrett, and even Desmond King's an 81 overall. I don't know too much about him, but you got 3 cornerbacks there. Derwin James, they brought in a 6'3" safety with 90 speed in the first round. That guy's going to help out big time. Next up, we got the Falcons. Julio Jones, man, this guy alone is worth taking the Falcons just to have rights to own this guy, because he's basically the Calvin Johnson of Madden now. I mean, I can't think of anybody better anyway. The running back situation is insane. Tevin Coleman is probably, in my opinion, probably a better back because he's slightly faster, but you can't discount Devontae Freeman. So trade one of those guys. Don't hang on to both of them. Trade one of them. 2 franchise backs. They got a pretty star caliber defense too. Desmond Trufant, one of the few cornerbacks in the game that's a superstar rated upgrade. Deion Jones, one of the best speed and skill linebackers at a 90 overall in the game. Keanu Neal, huge hit power, great safety. And then you move down a little bit, you have one of the fastest ends in the game in Vic Beasley Jr. I mean, this team has just got speed everywhere. Even DeCarson McKinley, their rookie from last year, is an 86 speed. So this team, signature on offense and defense, is pretty much speed. Staying in the division, we're going to go with the Saints next. Their only real issue on offense is probably the age of their starting quarterback. Other than that, they have talent everywhere. One of the best offensive lines in the game. Ryan Ramczyk had a Rookie of the Year caliber season, a late first-round pick. They have 2 stud running backs. Once again, trade one of them. Alvin Kamara is an absolute monster. Ingram's probably better suited for the inside, so you could definitely play them both. On the defensive side, they got one of the best young secondaries in the league. Marshawn Lattimore, Defensive Rookie of the Year, already already a stud. 94 speed, 90 overall player. He's a monster. Cameron Jordan, one of the best defensive ends, one of the highest rated. They brought back Patrick Robinson, although he didn't get much of an upgrade after the good year he had. He's an 83 overall. Ken Crowley, I'm not really sure how to say that name, but he's a 91 speed cornerback. So they have a bunch of young cornerbacks. Marcus Williams, another guy, free safety, young free safety. I mean, they're just loaded on the secondary. The defensive line and linebackers are pretty good too. Moving on to the big boys, top 5, the Rams. Coming in at number 5, we have Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs in the game, in my opinion. Probably should have been rated a little bit higher. No big deal, though. The guy's got everything you need. The receiving core is solid. Brandon Cooks, 95 speed. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp round out a great 3 wide receiver set. They don't really have a great tight end. Some young guys you got to work up, but not the biggest deal in the world. Jared Goff, a really solid quarterback, and the offensive line is solid as well. On the defensive side, it's all about Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh. In Madden, those guys are going to wreak havoc. Alone, they'll get pressured by themselves because there's so much strength and power to those two guys. Speed, too. I mean, Aaron Donald's an 83 speed. I mean, that's going to get it done. You probably won't even have to blitz people, to be honest. Their secondary is really solid, too, with LaMarcus Joyner, Aqib Talib, and Marcus Peters. Their linebacking core is the only thing that keeps them rated a little bit lower, though. They really don't have any linebackers. Mark Barron is an undersized linebacker. He's good for a user, but who are these other guys? I mean, they don't have any linebackers to speak of on this roster. Coming in number 4, we got the cover athlete and his team, Antonio Brown and the Steelers. He's the number 1 receiver in the game, 99 overall. Le'Veon Bell, the number 1 running back in the game. David Castro might be the highest rated guard. I'm not sure. It could be him or the guy in Dallas. But either way, I mean, you can't say nothing bad about this team. Their whole offensive line is rated pretty high. In my opinion, Juju Smith-Schuster should be a higher rated rookie. He had a monstrous rookie year, but EA's made it pretty clear that they don't really care what a guy has done in 1 year. That means nothing to them in the ratings. Carson Wentz. I mean, honestly, if Carson Wentz almost won MVP and is only an 86, they don't give a shit what you do in 1 season. On the defensive side is where they're lacking a little bit. They don't have an elite corner. They don't really have an elite defender. Ryan Shazier is probably the closest, but his speed downgraded maybe because of the injury that he had. He's only an 86 speed now. Probably won't even play in real life. But they have some good young players. TJ Watt showed a lot. Artie Burns is a guy you can work up. Coming in number 3, we got the Vikings. This is a team, everybody was all jacked up that they got a new quarterback in Kirk Cousins, but his ratings in Madden is pretty much the same. I'm not even sure if he's any better than the quarterback they had before, but it doesn't matter. Their receivers are great. Stefon Diggs, Adam Thielen. I'm surprised that Stefon Diggs is higher rated. To me, Thielen might have had a better year. That's how good these receivers are. You can't even tell which one's the number 1. Dalvin Cook only played a couple games, but he's up to an 85, 1 point behind Carson Wentz. I'm gonna keep beating that drum. Where this team really makes its money, though, is on defense. Harrison Smith was one of the runners-up for Defensive Player of the Year. He's been one of my favorite safeties in this game for a long time, but he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. Everson Grissom, one of the best defensive ends. Xavier Rhodes, one of the best corners. Even Trey Waynes, you just got to scroll down a little bit, but he's a 94 speed. I mean, this team has a lot of team speed on defense with Daniel Hunter, 87 speed, Anthony Barr, 88 speed, Eric Kendricks, 85 speed. I mean, that's what this team is about. And coming in number 2, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got to be honest, in my heart of hearts, this team could easily be number 1, and I'm going to show you some of the sleeper studs that they have on offense especially, but at this point in time the ratings aren't that high. I mean, if you look at some of their receivers that they have that they drafted recently, like Dede Westbrook, Keenan Cole, these guys have speed, they have ability. They brought in Dante Moncrief, who's another vertical threat. They drafted DJ Chark. I'm not even sure where he is on this team, but this guy here is a 94 speed. He's one of the fastest rookies in the game. Niles Paul, this guy right here, he's a monstrous tight end. He's actually a receiver converted to a tight end, so imagine that. 87 speed. He's one of my favorite tight ends in this game every year. I mean, they have so many sleepers on the offensive side of the ball. This team definitely has the best defense. Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, the best 2 cornerbacks, not just the best team of quarterbacks, the number 1 quarterback and the number 1. I really feel like this might be 1A and 1B. It's so hard to decipher between these top 2 teams, but Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye, this defense as a whole is just insane. I mean, Jalen Ramsey is the highest rated cornerback. You know who the second highest rated cornerback in the game is? AJ Boye. That's how nasty this defense is. Calais Campbell's been one of my favorite defensive ends for a while. He's been so underrated, and he really burst on the scene last year. They have backup linemen that could start for a lot of teams with Yannick and Malik Jackson. Marcel Darius, one of the strongest defensive ends in the game. Telvin Smith is one of the fastest linebackers and most talented linebackers. Miles Jack as well, a real speedster. So this defense is just perfect made for Madden. Call me a homer if you want to, but I took the Philadelphia Eagles with the #1 team in Madden 19, and it's not really hard to imagine why. They're the highest rated overall team. They're one of the deepest rosters in the game. You have so many good players. You have 2 starting quarterbacks on the team. You can trade one of them, get a bounty, and just keep this dynasty going as long as you want to. The offensive line, though, is really where it's at. They have 4 Pro Bowl caliber linemen at 91+. They have 6 91 overall rated players on offense alone. I mean, that's just insane. And then Carson Wentz probably should be a 90 overall rated player. EA is out of their fucking mind that they have the MVP of the league last year at 86. But hey, what do I know? Pretty solid on the defensive side too. Just like the Jaguars, they have backups that could start for most teams in the league. I mean, they're the only team in the league that could say they have 4 starting Pro Bowl caliber linemen with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Grahams, Michael Bennett, and Tim Jernigan. And that doesn't even include, like I said, some of their backups could start anywhere. Their cornerbacks and safeties are pretty solid. Malcolm Jenkins, Ronald Darby, Rodney McLeod, and Jalen Mills, who I think they should have probably put up a little bit more. I mean, they have just about everything you need to make a top-notch roster. So that's it. If you guys want to see more videos like this, the only other one I could really do is best teams to build. I definitely have a lot of teams in mind. Let me know in the comment section, hit the like button, I'll do that. Other than that, thanks for watching Madden Money Shot out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.